saw immediate increases in site traffic and web revenue. If you're in need of managerial effectiveness and success, visit our website at aminet.org. If you're in need of a website that provides an unparalleled consumer experience, I highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Transform your business today. Dial 877-WebNow1 for a free digital consultation with American.
Look up in the sky. There it is. The tallest tower in Murfreesboro. This is WGNS, FM, AM, and worldwide at wgnsradio.com. When severe weather strikes, we break in.
A tornado watch is in effect for Rutherford County.
The most up-to-date weather information.
We'll be here with you on radio and with Rutherford Weather Video Channel.
Rutherford weather updates on WGNS. And watch on YouTube and Facebook with Rutherford Weather.
Whether it's a cough, a fever, or something you can't quite name, MMC Now makes care easy. Walk right in, get seen quickly, and your visit connects directly to your MMC doctor. Care you trust, with providers you know, with digital check-in and multiple locations around town. MMC Now is here when you need us.
Murfreesboro Medical Clinic.
101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna, audio and video streaming at wgnsradio.com. This is the Roundtable. A look at the news, views, politics, and people that are shaping Rutherford County.
Good morning, Bill Krause on the WGNS Radio Roundtable, Thursday morning edition. Seems like a long, long time since we've had the chance to visit with each other. 3 weeks, of course, with Christmas 2 weeks ago and New Year's a week ago. And boy, doesn't those 2 dates seem like a long time ago? I mean, I was just thinking driving up Christmas 2 weeks ago.
Last year.
Oh, all right, thank you. But not a month. So we have with us some dear friends, certainly starting off the year with a focus on Motlow State, with specifically Motlow State at the Smyrna campus. And we have Gary Winton, the Director of Engagement. I have to still basically call it the Dean of the College or the Director of the College. Gary does so much for so many at the campus. Been with Motlow a long, long time. Gary, I'm going to let you introduce not only yourself, but the two lovely, lovely young ladies that you brought with us this morning that reflect two of the outreach and dimensions that you work closely with at Motlow. Good morning, Gary.
Good morning. Happy New Year, Rutherford County. Happy New Year, Dr. Krause. Thank you, as always, for having us on. We appreciate it, and we appreciate all that you do for the college and the community at large. So thank you so much. My name is Gary Winton, and I serve as the Director of Campus Engagement for the Smyrna campus of Motlow State Community College. I've been with the college for 25 years and in Smyrna for 19 years. So
he started when he was 5 years old.
5 years old.
Yes,
Thank
yes,
you.
yes.
I'll give you a quarter later for that.
Thank you.
And I was a student at Motlow College, and I enjoy the family atmosphere that the college brings and being able to help students, see them a little bit shy walking in, and 2 years later or 3 years, however long it takes, seeing them walk across the stage with the happiness and the big smile. So it's always a good thing. But this morning we have the wonderful, the incredible, Miss Yolanda Beverly, who serves as our Assistant Director of Disability Access and Counseling Services.
Yes.
And also the one and only, the Miss Jessica Johnson, who is the Atlas Coordinator for Rutherford County Schools. And our partnership and relationship with the county school system is a great one. And I thought it would be good for us to be able to talk about not only the services that the college offers, and also how Jessica and us work together with getting students from the graduating high school over to the college.
Sure.
Let's initially talk about Atlas. I've always asked this. I knew I had the answer years ago when I dealt with your a wonderful lady, your predecessor there at Atlas. What does Atlas stand for?
Okay, Atlas stands for Academic Time Leads to Achieving Students.
I can see why you limited it down.
So, but that's what it stands for. But what we do is we help any of our students that are considered homeless under the McKinney-Vento Act. So any student that's living in a motel, hotel, living in a campsite, living from couch to couch, anyone that's in transition without a permanent, stable, nighttime residence. And currently we have over 1,300 students in Rutherford County schools that are receiving services from Atlas.
Is that number continue to rise?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Having dealt in the homeless community for several years back when Hark was alive and cooking, it was something that was a changing nature. The amount of families that were increasing among the homeless. It was no longer young men who happened to be, as they call them, hobos in early movies and so forth, but it was basically women alone with little children and the whole aspect there. Before we go on, talk about yourself. Born where? A little bit about how Jesse. People call you Jesse?
I answer yes. That's fine with me.
Okay, I got to be sure.
Anything with a J.
Okay. Would you tell us about?
Sure. So I was born here in Murfreesboro, and I lived in Woodbury, Cannon County, and graduated from Cannon County High School in 1995. So I moved to Murfreesboro to go to MTSU, where I got my undergraduate degree in social work. And then I've been here ever since. I moved from MTSU to Trevecca to get a master's degree in mental health counseling. And then I just completed my EDS with the University of Alabama in school counseling with a concentration in rural poverty.
Wow.
So
congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Congratulations are indeed.
So I've been with the county, Rutherford County Schools, for 16 years, and I've been with Atlas for 6. And prior to Atlas with the school system, I was a high school counselor. And that's originally where I met Gary. So we've been working together for quite some time. And prior to working with Rutherford County, I was a social worker in the old ER, I should say, for 6 years, working just with our community. And then I also worked for NHC for 4 years.
Man,
yeah.
And I want to hear all about your insights, perceptions in terms of contemporary mental health. How do we deal with it? How do we identify it? I know programs like at Motlow, faculty are instructed to keep their eyes open. The only interesting thing about that, now this is an editorial part on my part, as a non-social worker person myself, as a non-social degree person myself, I'm not sure I've learned all the strategies and techniques of how to recognize an issue in the classroom. I mean, we can have broad comments of it, but, you know, if I see somebody acting weirdly, how do I define weirdly?
Well, that's a really good question. I think we're all so unique. When I'm speaking with our teachers at the beginning of the year, I ask our teachers if they have any students that are just displaying different behaviors than normal. Maybe they're coming in late to class, not prepared for class. Maybe you notice their hygiene has declined. Maybe you're not keeping their attention. They're constantly falling asleep, or maybe even causing a disruption of some sort. To please let your school counselor know, or give me a call, because whether it's a mental health concern, which often goes hand in hand with the homeless situation because of the trauma they're enduring, or maybe it's just because they don't have which is a huge deal, they don't know where they're going home at night.
Yes, or what they're going to eat.
Or what they're going to eat, or maybe they slept in the car last night and they stayed up all night to make sure their younger sibling was okay or their parent was okay. So I just like to look at those basic needs and how we're acting on a regular basis, and try not to read too much into it, but let us reach out and have a private conversation with the student.
And, you know, I don't know of how many of our listeners are aware of some of the issues and problems that these children are going through. And it isn't just, are they going to have a meal that night? Are they going to have a bed to sleep on? Even the emotional conflicts within family.
Yes, sir.
And the stress that the parent is under and how that stress follows itself to the child.
We are very, I think, lucky in Rutherford County Schools. We have a counselor on top of your school counselor, but we have a mental health counselor in every school. So if students need to see someone, mom and dad, they do not have to take off of work. They do not have to have the reliable transportation, all these barriers. And if the student doesn't have insurance, the counselor at the school will still see them. And then if it is beyond what the school mental health counselor can handle, they will refer out.
You know, an interesting observation, and I didn't mean that critically earlier, that Motlow or other colleges are not preparing their faculty who are not experts in identifying mental health. But the first thing I notice with a new student is what seat do they choose in the classroom? And 99% go as far away as possible, and not necessarily the back, the cornerback.
Oh,
it's kind of interesting. Now, it doesn't mean that everybody who selects to see the quarterback, my eyes are going to be upon them. I've had situations over the years of teaching where significant mental health has broken out in the classroom and how to deal with it. And I do tell the tale, and this was still when I was in California, of a young lady in the middle of a class, about 20 people, stood up and said, Dr. Krause, will you excuse me? I said, sure. She said, I'm leaving the classroom, going downstairs, walking out of the school on the Westwood Boulevard. I'm going to kill myself actively in the classroom. And, people will ask, what did I do? And initially, this was before people had cell phones and so forth. I said, students, run downstairs, 911. And believe it or not, she was 6'2", beautiful, beautiful young lady. And as she got out to walk, I had to use my old high school football tackle. And I had to tackle her and retain her, along with the help of other students. I thought, wasn't in my contract to be, in fact,
Sure.
sometimes could be sexual harassment, rather than preventing. The whole mental health issue, and we're living with it on an ongoing basis. I guess I have to say this, and I say this editorially. I'm not so sure that numbers like mental health are increasing because we have more and more issues. I will relate rather significantly to just a growth in population will show a growth in participation or a problem in the population. We've seen this in criminal justice. As the criminal justice, have we got worse in behavior as people go along? Or there's just many more of us that we can statistically count accordingly. So I want to talk more about that.
I also think with mental health, I think as a community, we are more aware and we are trying to make sure that nothing's getting by us, or if someone needs something, I don't think the stigma is as complicated as it was, 20 years ago or even 10 years ago. When I worked in the ER, I would ask my patients, are you taking your medications on a daily basis? No, I'm not. I'm not compliant with my meds. And I said, well, if you had high blood pressure or diabetes, would you take your medicine then? There's no difference. Please take your medicine. Let us get you back on track.
Believe it or not, that was the greatest problem we had with the homeless. They're not taking their prescriptions.
Yeah.
Those specifically that are living in the encampments. Yolanda.
Yes, sir.
What a lovely name and a lovely lady. Give us your background story.
Certainly. So my name is Yolanda Beverly, and I have been in Murfreesboro for 15 years now. My family and I moved from Laurel, Mississippi in 2010. I was working at a high school, working with students with disabilities, transitioning from high school to college, assisting them with finding work or schooling, along with working with students through voc rehab. Once I moved to Murfreesboro, I continued my education with voc rehab through the state of Tennessee. I worked at the Tennessee Rehabilitation Center in Smyrna for 6.5 years before joining the lovely team at Motlow in 2017.
And they are. Mm-hmm.
Yes, and I am now the Assistant Director of Disability Counseling, and we have a new program now. It's called the Care Team, where we have a resource manager for students that may need financial assistance, housing, or anything like that, food, clothing, anything that they may need, anything that's going to hinder them from being successful within the classroom. So I have now been doing that for 9 years. Well, in May of this year, it would be 9 years. I am married to a wonderful chef, Chef Anthony.
What's his favorite cuisine?
Well, he is, because we're from the South, anything Southern cuisine. He loves, he said, with his grandmother, country style cooking is his favorite. So anything from the
mac and cheese.
Yes, that would be
your favorite.
No, I don't eat it.
Yes.
I'm sorry for saying that.
Yes, anything, and he loves seafood. Anything seafood.
Nice seafood. I love it too.
Yes. And we have two wonderful kids. Our son Anthony is 28, and our daughter Jada is 23. And we moved here when they were small. So now that they're adults, now I just can't believe it's been 15 years already.
They grow quickly.
They grow up so fast. So Rutherford County has been wonderful, because when we moved here, I had a dream. I had just got my master's, and I was wondering, like, what's my next step? And God came to me in a dream. He was like, Nashville, Tennessee. And I woke up out of my sleep because I was like, I don't know anyone. We don't have any family in Tennessee. And he said, just trust me. So what we did, we came to, on Old Fourth, we moved into a hotel for like 7 days.
Wow.
And we went and found a place to stay, and went back to Laurel and sold everything in our house, and came back off of God's words, just trust me. So we came with no jobs, didn't know anybody. I Googled Murfreesboro. I didn't even know anything about Murfreesboro. But I was looking for better school systems for our kids, and Rutherford County was one of the ones that popped up. And we moved from Sunrise Drive to Sunset Avenue. So I knew,
wow.
Yes.
Wow.
So I
There's
knew
a message in that.
I knew it had to be something. And here we are, like 15 years later, still standing on God's word, and trusting him. So
Please tell me that when God told you to come to Nashville, he wasn't playing a guitar.
He wasn't. I had to question God for a minute, because I think in 2010 in Rutherford County, you all had just experienced one of the worst floods ever.
May 1st.
People had lost their jobs. They didn't have homes. And I said, you want me to go to a place where people don't have homes or jobs? And
houses were flowing down the I-24.
Yeah. And it was hard.
Yep.
I stayed at home. I've always worked. So for me to have to sit on my hands for 6 months almost with no jobs, I started questioning God. Like, you wanted me to move to a place when I don't even have a job? He was setting me up for something.
Absolutely.
And I didn't realize what he was doing. I needed that time to sit in order to prepare me for my next step, my
was
next
this
journey.
message also shared with your husband? Or?
I shared it with my husband, and he was right along with me, because we're originally from Mississippi, so we wanted better, not just for us, but for our kids.
Sure.
And so he was willing to step out on faith with me. And I remember my dad was like, well, if this is what y'all gonna do, once you get there, stay there.
Yes.
And so I did just that. So we're still here. So 15 years later, I didn't realize how time just flies so
it travels.
It does.
Gary, talk about yourself. I know we've had you introduce yourself in the past, and your 25 years with Motlow, and just you contribute so much in all the functions that I've observed and had the personal and professional pleasure of working with you. You were extraordinarily impressive. But tell about yourself, and then talk about your relationships, working associations with these two ladies and their wonderful outreach.
Thank you for your kind words. You are always a ray of sunshine, and I appreciate getting to see you.
Well, that's the reason I just had this surgery. I was in the sun too long, so I can't have a ray of sunshine.
Well, I'm glad you're a ray of sunshine. I was born and raised and still live in Manchester, so I do the drive in and out to Smyrna every day. And my bachelor's degree is in plant and soil science. And I love plants and have many of them, some that I share in the office and some that live at home.
You have good roots.
I do have good roots.
Yeah.
Was a student at the college at the home campus in Lynchburg in the 1990s, and then began working as a secretary for the Humanities and Social Science office in 2000, in August of 2000, and came to Smyrna in September of 2006. And Smyrna's kind of like an adopted hometown for me now. The people are so good, and getting to know people, and
but there's so many more coming in.
There are. Manchester's the same way. It's growing like crazy as well. And as Jessica mentioned, we've been working together probably 2011-ish, 12-ish, somewhere around in there. And from 2 schools, and then when she became Atlas coordinator. And I just feel like that's such a underserved population of students, and I'm so glad she's in that role and bringing the attention she's bringing. And then I was on the hiring committee when Yolanda was hired back in 2017. And she's great with our students and the training that she does for staff and faculty, and she can share several things about the counseling services that we offer, and then dive into that new resource and advocacy program. And that
I would hope both ladies, and I recently had Scott Foster and Cliff Greenhouse Ministries and Journey Home, and I said, rather than just talk about your programs, I want to hear some of the particular successes. I want to hear you talk about those cases that you have been involved in over the years, either Atlas or over the years in the disability, and the success stories that came out of it. And, you know, we certainly can always identify the problem. We can always identify potential solutions. We can also identify the challenges. But I love to see the opportunity to share the successes. And both your programs on outreach are truly a success, not only to the individual and the family that they're part of, but to the community itself. So whoever wants to go first, some of the successes, you know, and I think, and as a adjunct faculty at Motlow for 22 years, I can remember, and I still remember, and I still experience the letters we get from disability advising us of particular students who will require some, I call it love and care, rather than just some consideration of effort and so forth. And, you know, it's just been a beautiful outreach.
Yes. It brings me great joy to see my students when they first come and sit across the table from me with their concerns with their disability and the challenges that they face throughout the years, and they feel like they cannot accomplish the goal. For me to see them walk across that stage is the greatest joy. Students, vision impaired, blind, hearing impaired, learning disabilities, physical, they feel like they cannot, for whatever reason, cannot make it. Once we receive the documentation and create a college plan for those students to be successful in the classroom, and they stick to the plan, they accomplish the goal. And that's the greatest joy for me, to see when they feel like they can't, and then to turn around and see them walk across that stage, and then they not only walk across our stage, they continue their education by going to MTSU, and then they walk across that stage again, and I get invitations to their graduations. That's the greatest success for me.
We'll be right back after special words from those people that are paying the bills.
Whether it's a cough, a fever, or something you can't quite name, MMC Now makes care easy. Walk right in, get seen quickly, and your visit connects directly to your MMC doctor. Care you trust, with providers you know, with digital check-in and multiple locations around town. MMC Now is here when you need us.
Murfreesboro Medical Clinic.
Sign-ups are going on right now for First Shot's Winter Basketball League in Rutherford County. Coach Andy Herzer guides kids to sharpen basketball skills and build teamwork through exciting clinics and games. Since 2003, First Shot has empowered youth to grow in mind, spirit, and body. Don't miss out. Join the fun and develop lifelong skills. Visit firstshottn.org today and register for the Winter Basketball League. That's firstshottn.org.
It takes all of us to power a community, both in plain sight and behind the scenes. Middle Tennessee Electric, bringing good energy.
I've been helping people from Murfreesboro for over 30 years and spent a lot of time there over the years.
We love Murfreesboro. We have lots of friends down there. We've partnered with Middle Tennessee State.
And we found more and more people asking for our services, and at some point it just made sense to open up an office there for the convenience of the citizens of the community and the surrounding areas.
We wanted to actually physically be present there and not just going there a lot.
This is Chip Walters, and I'm honored to be your 2024 MTAR Realtor of the Year. I'm with Exit Realty Bob Lamb & Associates, and like many of you, I've seen the real estate market shift and change. People often ask, Chip, what's really going on? Well, that's a great question, and I believe in answering with solid, factual data. So let's cut through some of the noise. I invite you to reach out. Let's have a conversation about your real estate goals and the current market trends in your neighborhood. You can find all my contact information at choosechip.net.
Good Neighbor Events is brought to you by America Pest Control, Old National Bank, and the law offices of John Day.
This is a paid legal ad.
At the law offices of John Day, we take only real cases that make a real difference.
Dear John, I want you to know that I appreciate everything you have done so much. I know you went over and beyond, and that's why I just think the world of you. Thank you. Robert K.
My pleasure, Robert. If you're ever injured, know that we are here for you too. Call the law offices of John Day for a free consultation. And remember, there's no fee unless we win your case. Seriously injured? Call me, John Day.
WGNS encourages you to shop local. Patronize our local mom and pop businesses. That's what it's all about. Neighbors helping neighbors. Circle January 31st on your calendar. That's a Saturday, and it's the 24th annual Polar Bear Plunge in the outdoor pool at Sportscom. Saturday, January 31st. The party in the indoor gym starts at 8 o'clock that morning, and the plunge is at 10. That's the 24th annual Polar Bear Plunge, Saturday, January 31st at Sportscom. There's a live tribute concert, Rewind, this Saturday and Sunday at the Art Center of Cannon County in neighboring Woodbury, with the hits of the Beatles, Van Halen, music from the 50s, 60s, 70s, and 80s. This Saturday it's at 7:30 in the evening, along with the 2 o'clock Sunday matinee. That's at the Art Center of Cannon County in neighboring Woodbury this coming weekend. WGNS is happy to list your Good Neighbor events absolutely free. Get them to us at least a month before they occur. Those are WGNS Good Neighbor events.
Rutherford weather.
Cloudy skies across the area for this afternoon. We'll have highs in the lower 70s. A chance for rain developing later on tonight, down to 62. I'm meteorologist Michael Carroll from the WGNS Rutherford Weather Center. Right now, it's 54.
WGNS is powered by Middle Tennessee Electric. Are you ready to take control of your energy usage and save money? Download the MyMTE app to track your energy consumption, pay your bill, and even report outages right from your phone. It's free and available now in iOS and Android.
This is the Roundtable from News Radio WGNS on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna. Listen and watch at wgnsradio.com.
This is Bill Krause returning back on the WGNS Radio Roundtable, Thursday morning edition. And we're having a highly informative but yet motivating visit with three folks that are related to Motlow State, two employees of Motlow State, and one Rutherford County Schools that has a partnership with Motlow. And let me reintroduce you back to Gary Winton, Director of Engagement for the Smyrna campus of Motlow. And Gary kind of brings us up to date of talking about counseling.
Very good. Good morning again, Rutherford County. We're always glad to be with you, and we thank you for all the support that you provide to the college and our students. We have Miss Jessica Johnson, Atlas Coordinator for Rutherford County Schools, and Miss Yolanda Beverly, the Assistant Director of Counseling Services and Disability Access. And Yolanda's going to share with us about how one applies for services, and maybe Jessica and her can kind of compare and contrast the differences from K through 12 versus when getting into higher education. And then Yolanda's also going to tell us about a new program that the college has, Resource and Advocacy.
Yes. So once a student turns 18, it will be their responsibility to self-identify with our office. I think that is the challenge with students and parents from K through 12, because the parents has the right to identify their kids, or the teachers can either do it. But once they turn 18, it's totally up to the students. So a lot of times, a lot of the students attend college and they do not identify with our office, although they may have a disability. A lot of times they understand that they have to self-identify, but they do not want to register with our office because they just want to try to see if they can do it on their own. And that's when I see them around that next semester, when they say, okay, I feel like I might need some accommodations. If a student would like to register with our office, we have a simple application that they can complete online. With that application, we will ask for the student to provide proof of their disability documentation. I would like to emphasize that students that's coming from high school, if you have an IEP, which is an individual education plan, and you have a reevaluation summary that's provided to you through the school, you could attach that documentation. And then what we would do is meet with the student to do an interview with the student to see exactly what they qualify for based off of the documentation and the interview. Once we create the best college accommodation plan for the individual, we will then send out accommodations to each of their professors. The accommodation plan will stay in place until they graduate, or unless they want to discontinue the plan. They have the right to do that once they turn 18. For my adult students, they have to go through that same process. So students that's coming in from the Tennessee Reconnect, they can go through that same process and provide us a letter from from a licensed physician. If you do not have documentation, especially those students that's coming in from high school, the adults that come in, they typically have like a letter from a psychiatrist or a licensed physician. They will go through that same process, and we will talk about what they qualify for based off of the documentation in our interview as well. We try to accommodate the students as much as we can. A lot of the accommodations that they receive from high school may look a little different in college. That's why we have to have those one-on-one meetings, because sometimes I have to disappoint you to let you know that you can't have your friend in the classroom writing your notes for you.
Yes.
So that is the important piece of our having that working relationship with the student. Communication is always the key, because we don't have anyone that's going to be in the classroom with you like they may have had in high school. So if the accommodation plan is working, the only way I'm going to know is if the student related to me. If it's not working, I like to know that as well, so we can sit down to say, okay, what's wrong? What we need to do to try to revise it to see if we could create a better plan for the student.
Let me ask you this, and I always will stress this on any outreach program that we have on the Roundtable, and it's maybe because of my perspective is a little bit different. Having grandparents involved, not only as being there that gives a cookie and a glass of milk to a grandchild, but going beyond that becomes a resource of information. And the tremendous program, Yolanda, that you're involved in at Motlow, that information in some respect, even through senior citizen program centers and so forth, should be based upon you can be of great help to your grandson or granddaughter of knowing this information. And from my personal experience, knowing what you do at Motlow, it is phenomenal. Can you think off the top of your head a success story or two of a young man or young lady that came into the program and how they blossomed? And I can personally think of many who have blossomed at their experience at Motlow.
I can think
put you on the spot.
I can think of several students, but the ones that like pull on my heartstrings are the ones that continue to keep in touch with me after they leave college to let me know exactly what I have a job now, or I'm continuing my education by going, can you send my records to Austin P or T? I those connections. So one that really stand out to me is a student that was completely blind.
Wow.
Not only did she receive her associate's degree, she received several scholarships to continue her education, and she's probably wrapping it up now at MTSU.
Great.
The challenge was not her disability, it was the financial piece. So for her to come in and then she received, I surprised her, we had a resource day. It was Disability Awareness Month in April, I think, yeah. And we had different community resources to come to the college, and we had everyone set up, and I surprised her that day. I had called the parents to let the parents know that I was going to surprise her with some extra scholarships. Don't tell her about it. Try to keep it on the down low. And when they showed up, and it was 2 scholarships that she received on top of the transfer scholarship. Those are the things that I'll never forget. I still have the pictures, to remind me. So sometimes it's not the disability, it may be the financial side of it that students just can't seem to get a hold of. So for me to be able to make those connections with other people within the community to say, hey, we have this student, that what can we provide for them? And it was just MTSU had Dr. McPhee every year will provide us, what is it called? The
Transfer Partner Day, or a Community Partner Day, isn't it?
And he would give free scholarships. And he said you can give these scholarships to whichever student you would like to give them to. And I thought about that particular student and blessed that student with those scholarships. So
I am assuming that you have a linkage with your counterparts at MTSU or at the schools within the greater Nashville area.
I do.
And that it can be a smooth sailing when they graduate from Motlow and they're entering MTSU, that the pattern and the path is there for them.
Yes, because, a lot of time the work is just getting registered with our office. So the paperwork side of it and having to do it again once they transfer. And I tell my students once I meet with them that because everything is confidential, so I can't do anything unless you allow me to. So if you would like for me to send over your paperwork without you having to do all the legwork, just check this box, and then once you graduate, I'll have your stuff waiting for you at MTSU. All you have to do is show up and identify yourself.
Just a little personal comment. And again, it goes back as, we assume, and I think it's the right assumption, that most faculty would be well aware of how to handle when they get a letter about a particular student. But, there's also a personal thing. To what degree do you provide the support to that student that may almost look overwhelming versus the fact that you're encouraging the student to be the very best they can, but equally important that the student is going to be the very best they can within the environment and framework that they're associated with in the classroom. And, so it isn't a fact that the teacher is just doing everything and anything for this one particular student, and it suddenly sets the student out as really being a standout that may be good or may not be good.
Yeah, that's a challenge.
Yes.
Because a lot of times the student feel like they're a burden, and they feel like the teacher, they don't want to have to go to the professor and ask for all the extra help because they don't want to feel like they're standing out amongst all the other students. So they sometimes won't say anything, and then they will go without. So I try to tell the students you're your best advocate, self-advocate for yourself, and if you have any challenges with that, please contact me. That's what we're here for. So it's hard for some students versus, well, some students don't mind. Let me just say some students don't mind asking for what they need, and I appreciate that. But you do have the ones that really don't want to feel like they're a burden, and I try to push that, like advocate for yourself, because sometimes the professors just don't know, and they won't know unless you let them.
Exactly.
So
you find strong parental advocacy as well.
I do. That's the hard part.
Yes.
Because I do, and I try to reach those parents while the student is still in high school to let them know to get prepared for once they come to college, because there's going to be a lot of things that you're going to have to take your hands off of. once they turn 18, even with them, that sometimes the parents think the IEP automatically transfers into college, and that because they had the IEP in high school, that they automatically assume that the student have those accommodations in college. And I mean in college. So I have to let them know that is not the process. And the thing about our application process is once they complete a confidentiality form, the student can then give me permission to speak to whomever, the parents, guardians, faculty, because everything is confidential and I can't share anything with anyone unless that student give me permission. And most of the time they'll say, well, you can talk to my parents, just don't talk to the X, Y, and Z.
Exactly.
So.
Jesse,
Yes.
success stories through Atlas. And I know the
Sure.
heartbreaks of the homeless are the heartbreaks. And I guess I have to say this also. I'm going to ask Yolanda the same thing. The degrees of disability and the degrees of homelessness,
Sure.
each one is going to be treated individually. So can you think of
Sure,
some
I
success
can.
stories?
So when we enroll new students, families into the Atlas program, we get really focused on those basic needs: food, referrals to the community just to hopefully find them housing as soon as possible, the basic needs, and transportation. That sometimes it's easy to forget the next step. When you're in the McKinney-Vento program, which is the federal law, we call it Atlas. When you're in that program and you're a senior in high school, I provide a letter that states you are identified as homeless, this is the situation, and you take that with you to college, wherever you're going, and present that to financial aid, which helps you, as the student, you can complete your FAFSA without your parents' documentation. It makes you an independent student because sometimes the parents aren't available. They're just not there to do that for them, or depending on the circumstance, they don't have the information to provide. That paperwork was lost a while ago, and they've been focusing on just getting through their surviving. So we currently have a student that is in transition, continuing to come to school, continuing to make great grades, and just found out 2 months ago that they received a full scholarship.
Yay.
Wonderful.
To their school of choice, including dorm and books.
Wow.
And I just think education is the way. Our students have very few choices, and we know that if they do not have a high school diploma, that's the number one reason for young adult homelessness. But for them to be able to go from high school to a secondary program, it just gives them so much opportunity, and it's the first time they're able to change their situation, in my opinion.
And what a testament to that student.
Yes.
For
And
the
the family.
determination to continue on.
And the family. What does
Yes.
it do? Does it do
Yes.
motivating for the family?
What you said about students, they may have the service, but they've got to continue, with the program. For us, we've got to make sure everybody knows about the program, because no one's coming in to say, hey, I need you to know I'm homeless. That, people have pride. They're not going to tell you that. So we have to find them. Then we have to get the students, especially high school students, please come see your counselor. Please come and get XYZ. Let us assist you. Accept it. You've got to accept the service. Because we're not here pointing a finger. We want to give you the ability, the resources to complete your goal, and hopefully to get you right here with Motlow or your next decision, so you have even more choices.
I want to put the three of you on the spot. No, I shouldn't say on the spot. I told you this is a visit, not a news interview or what have you. But all three of you, I just had the opportunity for the first time this morning to meet our two ladies, and Gary I've known for a lot of years. But all three of you have the heart and have the emotion and have the passion and have the commitment, not just to do a job, not just to push papers from A to B, not just to fill out forms, but carrying your emotion into the work you do. So many people take advantage or actually consider, well, public government agencies and so forth are nothing more than a group of bureaucrats just pushing process. But yet there are millions within the governmental process, federal, state, and local, that just have the same heart and passion. Do you have the potential of burnout?
It's a real thing.
sure.
I think everyone does.
It's hard to leave it at work.
It is.
Yes,
You know, 'cause you
and how do
care.
you deal with it? How do you deal with this emotional commitment that you're not just providing a service to people, individuals, students, family, but you're providing a spark of hope? And how do you keep within yourself? I mean, you can wake up in the morning. I know you go to the gym and you're actually working at 5 in the morning at the gym. How do you say to myself, this is going to be a wonderful day, and this is a day I'm going to have an impact on another human being? And how do you keep that spirit going in, both from the social education, social nature that you come from? And Gary falls right into it. Gary,
Sure.
for those of you who know Motlow, for those of you who've attended Motlow, for those of you who've worked at Motlow, you never see Gary Winton around the campus without a very positive and motivating and enthusiastic spirit. I don't know, Gary, if I've ever seen you down, if there's a down Gary, and so forth. But so how do you keep that spirit up?
If you don't stop with all the compliments, I'm going to owe you all my paycheck for the month. Thank you very much. I do a lot of prayer.
Okay.
And
Now,
I can unplug with the best of them and be a bum for a day and recharge myself. But as long as there's someone to help, I think we need to be ready to help that person.
Well, that drive all the way from Manchester to Smyrna, does that give you a chance to contemplate? You're not dealing, thank goodness, you're not dealing with stop, start on the I-24.
That makes it
to
the worst
Nashville.
day ever when it's a stop-start kind of day. So.
Yes, but you have the chance to think and pray. I think that is phenomenal.
Talk on the phone, listen to an audiobook, just unplug altogether, or plan the day out is usually what I do on the drive in, and on the drive out I decompose. And I know that's not the right word, but I do kind of go back over my day. I should have been this. All those shoulda, coulda, wouldas, and then just focus on the drive and to get home to see the dog and the plants and all that kind of fun.
Does the dog listen to you when you
does.
talk about the day?
He does. He's a very good listener.
The dog contribute?
He barks sometimes.
And it's a good bark or a bad bark?
It's a good bark. A good bark.
So you go in terms of even around family, the ladies who have raised or are in the process of raising children and loving husbands, etc. I would imagine that they're very supportive and that they twig off the flame that you share with the world.
So, for me, that is something that I constantly have to work on, disconnecting from work when I get home. But I try, when I think about the day or when something's really pressing in my mind, because there's only so many things you can do, I think to myself, did we do everything that we have to offer? Have we offered every service? Have we made that extra phone call? Have we touched base with the school? And then I have to have peace within myself and in my work that we've done everything we can. We've done everything we can for that specific situation. And my husband is very supportive, and sometimes he'll look over at me, stop it, just stop, you're done for the day, just stop, we'll watch a movie or do something outside. We go camping a lot, so that's very helpful.
Yes.
Fantastic. And, you begin to say one of the values we learn in this society, in this world, that growth is a measure of success. But in the social world, in the social behavior world, that's actually true in much of public service. With growth comes the inability to manage individually what you want to do. And if you're now having to respond to major increases in homelessness in Rutherford County, or you're increasing in the amount of people that are taking full advantage of the disability program within Motlow, and so forth, it must become frustrating. And I knew this as a city manager for years, that you were ultimately dealing with putting out fires, dealing with emergency quick responses, and losing the focus on treating the individual case as it should be.
You're exactly right. Sometimes when I feel like when I'm just putting out fires, we're just band-aiding situations until the next thing, instead of making that one-on-one connection. That's a challenge.
Gary, talk about the partnership with Rutherford County.
You want Yolanda to talk about how she...
Oh, Oh, absolutely.
How you deal with the...
Well, I've learned throughout the years that I have to turn things off. I can't take care of others if I don't take care of myself.
Okay, good.
So emails do not get read after work hours. On the weekends, that's my time.
Yes.
So I had to learn that, though. The work that we do is hard work. And I think the biggest challenge for me is to meet individuals that don't have that same compassion and care for our students. So sometimes that bothers me a little bit, because I try to figure out why that person can't, but I can't change everybody. All I can do is what I can do. So for me to learn how to turn off and then tackle that, whatever that challenge is, once I get back into work on that Monday or whatever, that took a process. That took time for me to learn that I cannot take that home, because I do have a family that needs me as well.
I have one question, and it somewhat relates to a bias that I've had for years and years and years. I don't know if Gary's ever heard me share. Oh, goodness, my watch running slow. Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Let's take a break first, and then we'll wrap in this question. Sorry about that, Brian.
Whether it's a cough, a fever, or something you can't quite name, MMC Now makes care easy. Walk right in, get seen quickly, and your visit connects directly to your MMC doctor. Care you trust, with providers you know, with digital check-in and multiple locations around town. MMC Now is here when you need us.
Murfreesboro Medical Clinic.
When the weather turns bad, minutes, even seconds matter.
This is an early heads up for southern Rutherford County.
Rutherford Weather brings you live radar and expert meteorologist insight, giving you the early heads up when storms threaten.
A lot of areas are going to see some impacts from this storm.
From analysis to live camera views, we keep you informed before, during, and after the storm.
I think the vast majority of the hail with this now is going to be quarter to perhaps golf ball size.
Rutherford Weather. Stay ahead of the storm.
Do you love WGNS Radio? Well, now you can watch it too. WGNS Big G TV brings your favorite radio shows live and on demand. From breaking news and community talk to Rutherford County's top local sports. We've got it all right at your fingertips. Watch anytime, anywhere. WGNS Big G TV, where radio comes to life.
Rutherford County Farmers Market.
Bundle up and make your way every Friday at Lane Agri Park.
This is Kim Dunaway from Sunshine Nutrition Center. You hear me on Monday mornings at 7:20 talking about how to lead a healthier lifestyle. We carry supplements, personal care, and grocery items at both our Murfreesboro and Smyrna locations, family owned and operated since 1989.
This message brought to you by the Central Tennessee Regional Solid Waste Planning Board. Visit RecycleRightTN.com for tips, ideas, and locations on where to recycle near you. That's RecycleRightTN.com.
Recycle right, it's all on you. Don't be trashy, recycle classy, recycle right, Tennessee.
Go to RecycleRightTN.com.
Recycle right, Tennessee.
This is the Roundtable from News Radio WGNS on FM 101.9 and AM 1450 Murfreesboro, FM 100.5 Smyrna. Listen and watch at wgnsradio.com.
Bill Crowell's concluding this morning, first broadcast of 2026. Great way to start. And starting with the enthusiasm and hope. I have to use the word hope for the men and women who are committed and dedicated to assisting others. I have to ask one question that both Yolanda and Gary may respond to. And I think it hits the bias as I was starting out. I'm a very, very, maybe it's my age and an old timer, but I'm so dedicated to on-ground education. And I'm not necessarily saying there's no role or no place for online. There is a place, distance where people live, or handicap, or work schedule, or children. There certainly is a case. But on the other hand, how do you reach out on the person who may need assistance, but they're online? And will they be involved online in terms of assistance, of support? You know, if you're doing an online, you're doing a Zoom, you know, to what degree can you help out, except on assignments, certainly on assignments and how they do.
We provide the same service to those students that's online versus on ground campus. Students that register with my office prefer to have on ground classes because of the challenges that they face. So they're looking for those on ground courses, and those are the classes that fill up really fast.
Right.
So sometimes I'm like, well, you only have a choice now. So that's why we try to emphasize when the early registration starts to go ahead and register for those classes that you want, because they fill up really fast.
Exactly.
So
I'll take them all in political science. Send them my way, because I love it.
That's awesome.
Well, let's concluding comment. Jesse, would you like to give one last shout out?
Sure. I just want to say, if there's anybody that's listening that's concerned about maybe a student or a situation, if you need to refer someone to the Atlas program in Rutherford County Schools, we serve every school in Rutherford County, all 52. You can just give me a call. Again, I'm Jessica Johnson, or you can email me at johnsonje@rcschools.net. Would be glad to help anybody.
Is there a telephone number?
Yes, thank you for that. It is 615-893-5815, and my extension is 22225.
One more time for the people who ran to get a pen.
Yes, 615-893-5815, and my extension is 22225.
And Yolanda, final catch-up comment?
yes, we are ready and set to serve you. So whenever you decide to join our wonderful college, please reach out if you need our services. Not only do we provide disability services, we have counseling services, and we have resources for you as well. If you need assistance with disability services, you can reach out to me or my director at Disability Services. What is the website? Motlow.edu/students/disability. It will provide you with all the information you will need. And our main number is 931-393-1765, or you can reach out to 615-220-7857. For counseling services, we do have counselors for all 4 of our campuses. You can go to their website. You can go to their website at motlow.edu/counseling, or you could call them as well at 931-393-1960.
Fantastic. And Gary, some closeout comment that you might like to make?
We are thankful for you and all that you do for us, Dr. Krause.
Well,
and all your kind words and your recruitment efforts, and the list goes on. And we thank the Rutherford County listening community for their support. And if there's any questions or anything I can do, I'm at 615-220-7803, 615-220-7803.
And these 3 folks are the investor of life in the future. And they're investing in the time, effort, expertise, and most importantly, their passion for their fellow man, their fellow lady, and so forth, that their future, the young men and women, actually all ages, will be meeting or exceeding their goals of life. Thank you for your service, to put it mildly, great service, and keep up the fantastic work in the 2026 year.
Thank you so much.
Bye now.